Water crisis. A new report by an independent task force appointed by Governor Snyder concludes the state is to blame for the lead contamination of the city's drinking water. The report places primary responsibility on Flint's emergency managers and the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. It recommends a review of the emergency manager law and the creation of a toxic exposure registry containing all of the people living in Flint over the past 2 years. So basically, they could have done one page and been like, everybody's screwed up. Here's the report.
Or
but
one
it
paragraph.
really,
Or especially you, Governor, screwed
really
up and quit blaming
piled
everybody
on
else.
the state. Whereas there has been this conversation of the blame has to go around, and yes, the blame does go around, but
they
it
said
does
yesterday,
land squarely
they
on
said
the
yesterday,
state.
no, they said quit saying that. Quit trying to disperse the blame here. Most of it sits with the Department of Environmental Quality, and that reports up to the governor. I mean, they were very clear about that.
The blame was widespread and deep, and basically what it said
what they
in
say.
the opening sentence is that government failed at every level, and it did here. It failed. The feds failed. Certainly, we've been looking at the city of Flint as a victim here. Its officials screwed up from the very beginning, mismanaged from the very beginning. It was a colossal failure of government at every level, and a real example of how the bureaucratic culture just continues to foster this sort of attitude and culture. You talk several times about culture in these departments of, we don't really work for the public. We work for our own benefit.
I think it's interesting, too, that they looked at environmental justice in this situation, or called environmental injustice, and they also said that there should be a review of the emergency manager law coming out of what happened here.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that you could do to the emergency manager law to make it a little more transparent, to have better checks and balances over the decision making. They stopped short of saying this, but I think part of the implication here is also that the emergency manager law is a tool. It is not policy. And this is an administration that has used that law as the sum total of its urban policy since it's been in Lansing. There's a lot of other stuff that needs to be done with regard to the way we fund cities, the way we allow cities to fund themselves and govern themselves, that goes beyond the emergency manager law, and Rick Snyder has been completely uninterested in any of that.
And look for our special on municipal finance coming soon to a television near you. You get a last word on this, Nolan. We've got 20 seconds left.
The emergency manager work in Wayne County is a pretty good example. They empowered the executive, gave him the leverage he needed to get
It's a good example of that. Yeah.
It was representative government still, but it cleared away a lot of the obstacles he needed to make tough decisions and implement them. I think it worked perfectly there, and that serves as a good
example
for the future.
All right.